So you're running for state senate. I believe that's District 31. Can you kind of talk to me, what went into the decision to run for state senate? Is this something that you've been, planning to do for a while, or like, why did you decide to do this?
Mhm. So I have been planning it for a while, at least a year. It was June of 2020 when I decided this was the path I wanted to be on, and then we announced July of this year. It took a lot of learning to know, what does a senator do? What would I be responsible for? Setting up tax IDs, setting up things, planning for fundraising. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. I think some people can do it on a whim, but I like to be prepared in all things. So the reason that I am running is because I think we need people with integrity representing us in Austin. There aren't many people in Austin with integrity or a backbone enough to represent the rural communities in Texas. We have in District 31, we have one state senator and I don't know, 4 to 6 representative seats. Houston alone has multiple senators and at least 17 representative seats. So we are already at a disadvantage. And then we have, I don't want to say weak officials, but we have people that aren't a strong, persistent, accountable voice representing us. And so I hope to bring that to Austin. We have a lot of overreach and a lack of accountability going on, and we need someone that can begin that course correction. I care so much about doing what's right, not just what's convenient, and I'm willing to put in the hard work for the people in District 31.
And so you would be replacing Senator Seliger if
Correct.
elected. What are some of the things that you would like to do, maybe a little bit different from him, if you are elected to the office? I know you talked about, kind of being, a stronger presence, having a little more integrity, but what else would you like to do? Maybe that's a little bit different than what he's done over the last several years since he's been in office.
Well, I think someone that takes a stance. I'm not going to disrespect Kel in any way. I think he ran on a platform of higher education, and that he kept his word on that. But the things that I can offer to the district is I have a vaster experience tool belt, if you will, than any other candidate. I grew up literally with nothing. I bootstrapped my way to owning 2 successful businesses in the construction space. I have been a nurse for 11 years. My husband worked in the oil field before we started doing our business full time. We both have our aviation pilot's license. So, I can represent the district and the various needs that it has well. I also live and operate a ranch between Big Spring and Colorado City. So, this district is 45 counties, one of the largest in the state. I would say the second largest in the state, and one of the largest in the nation as far as population wise. And it's amazing how a candidate or two really want to focus on, one sector of industry. And, we have aviation, we have huge healthcare industry in this district. We have a huge agriculture and farming industry in this district, as well as oil and gas. And so you really, when you're looking to hire a senator, choose a senator, I'm going to say hire, elect an official of any capacity, you want to make sure that they can check the boxes. Business ownership is something that I think is important, but not only business ownership, but diversification in business ownership. We are looking for these people that we elect to represent us in our industry and where we are in our current place in life, our current season. And so, I serve on my school board. I'm a mother of 2 young kids, so I can definitely relate to the challenges and opportunities that every Texan in our district faces.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Making sure that you cover all of your bases with everybody who lives within the district. And talking about that, at least for West Texas, the Permian Basin, because that's more who at least in this area, we're really focused on oil and gas. You know that, more than anybody. You know that just as well as I do, probably more so. Um, and so some of the big issues that we're having out here, or not, I shouldn't say big issues, but some of the important things that we're dealing with involves the issue of seismicity, the earthquakes that we're having out here.
Mhm.
What are your plans to, you know, how do you plan to address that and those concerns out here uh, in Austin?
Well, there's 5 reasons that earthquakes occur. It can be a volcanic eruption. That's not an option here, as far as we know. Tectonic plate shifting, geological faults, which begin at before it's a stage before the tectonic plate shifts. They can be man-made and they can be minor causes. This could be a landslide, mining. I know fracking is taboo to talk about. The answer is I'm not a geologist, and I don't think any of us candidates are, and so we would need to rely on experts who give us adequate information on that. I think nature is a volatile thing, and I would hate for any one person or any group of people to place blame on an industry or on a mechanism of um, work, to place blame on that would could be facetious. I think that we need to trust experts. We need to gather our own data. I think in the oil and gas industry, they alone have a lot of people looking into this because, the federal government really wants to lay blame on fracking to be the main reason for the earthquakes that we're experiencing. And the facts are we have no answers right now. So I think it would be a little advanced to say that it's one thing. But as far as what a senator can do, I think if we determine a cause, and we have some preventative measures that we can put out there, I think that would be something that we all would be very prudent to do. We can't control the weather, we can't control hurricanes and tornadoes and things like that. So, um, if I had to guess, this is probably just one of those um, earthly happenings. But I think we definitely need to pay attention to it and take whatever means necessary to provide safety for our citizens and our community if it is something that we can do.
And then, the other big topic, especially here lately, has been the power grid, ERCOT, dealing with
Yeah,
all of that.
especially
How do
with
you
our cold days lately too.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly? I walked out this week, and even though this week wasn't as cold as the last couple of weeks, I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how do you plan to address, those issues, making sure that we're prepared for future winter storms like we had last year and to an extent a few weeks ago?
hmm well, first and foremost, I want to say that the federal government should never have a place in our power grid. So as not amazing as ERCOT was last year, as far as handling their business in a timely manner and being prepared for the storm that we faced, Storm Uri, I still think we are better off suited to stay on our own system. So I think working out the kinks in ERCOT is going to be a huge priority. We didn't really prioritize that this last legislative session, but I do believe there's a place for that, and I would hope that it's in 2023 when we are in session again. As far as helping the power grid, I think to ensure sufficient power during these extreme conditions, we have to diversify our power sources. So solar and wind make up about 30% of our power grid right now, and they only have an output of about 18 to 20%. So yes, renewable resources are an amazing thing, and I think they will have a place one day. I think that the problem with renewable resources right now is they're just not reliable. And in extreme conditions, you need reliability over renewability. I think in a great summer and spring day, wind and solar are perfect, and I think we definitely should utilize those resources when they're available. But they just can't compete with oil and gas. The fossil fuels are they are efficient, they are stable. Honestly, they're the most organic fuel you can get because it comes from the earth. It is just time made oil. They're stable, they're reliable. They do have a stigma lately from the federal government, but the fact remains is when a catastrophe arises, these natural gases and these oils are a critical resource, and we would be prudent to keep them around and make sure that we are keeping our facilities up and running, because we know from Storm Uri that we cannot rely on wind and solar in below freezing temperatures and no sun. So.
Absolutely. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention? Anything that you want the viewers to know, those that are, out voting and everything? I know last day to early vote is today, but, people still can go vote on election night. Anything else that you want to mention that we haven't touched
I would say just know, review your candidates. There's several resources out here where you can hear us speak. Don't take our necessarily flyers for their or mailers or TV commercials necessarily for their worth, because as I said earlier, we're lacking integrity in Austin. And several of the candidates, I would say, I'm not trying to badmouth my opponents necessarily, but we have you're saying one thing in this flyer, and then you're on record on multiple news sources saying something completely different. And so I would just be wise to tell the voters to research us as candidates, reach out to us if you're questioning it, ask us our opinions. You are voting for someone to represent you on the highest level in your state, besides the governor and lieutenant governor. And so don't make the decision lightly, and just I would highly recommend praying about it before you do it, because it is a big decision on every level. You want to vote for someone that has the values that you would possess. You want someone that's going to fight for you the way you would fight for yourself. And today's your last day to vote until election day on Tuesday. And I hope that I'm doing my job to represent the people, and I hope to serve them in Austin in January of 2023.